from PRX.
All right, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's, believe it or not, this is my first intro of the year I'm recording. You'll be hearing it a few months from now. So again, we get connected across the deep dark night. That's really what this show is about. But if you're new or you're returning the show after a break or you're here time after time after time, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm here to just keep you company and take your mind off of stuff so you could fall asleep. The show is a bit different. Believe it or not, I strive to bring sleepy joy and delight to you. And I don't always get there. Usually I don't get there. That's what I strive to do as a distraction from whatever's keeping you awake and to keep you company. And ideally, then you fall asleep. I'm not actually here to put you to sleep. I'm here to hang out with you, tell you a story. But even telling a story is going to take me a while to get there. Just like a good friend, just like a good boring friend would. You say, I wouldn't describe my friend, he's not boring, but I don't know what other word, but it is, hanging out with him is delightful and joyous, but in a very unique way. That's what I'm here to try to do. So if you've had trouble sleeping like me or any of the other listeners, there's a lot, we all want to help. So I'm glad you're here. What we got coming up is an intro to the podcast that's to ease you into bedtime. And then tonight will be a kind of making of bedtime stories-esque podcast, talking about the priorities of the show, actually, sleepy, joyous delight in 2026. Because even though we're well into 2026 when you're hearing this, I'm just getting started here. And I want to think about how to make the best possible podcast to put you to sleep that I can, if I can, because this show's not for everybody. I'll talk about that coming up. But before we get to that, we got the support. If you are new, you only listen occasionally, you can't afford to support the show, you're having a tough time, we've got you. But if the podcast changes your life on a nightly basis or nearly nightly basis, you listen to more than one episode a night, we really could either use you, if you're hearing me, supporting the show, or someone else supporting the show for you. And if you say, yeah, I'm the one, I'll support it for me. I'll support it for all those other people you mentioned too. I want to have their back and help them sleep as well as me. Here's the ways you could participate in that. Thanks. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix Sleep. And I think it's time for you to take that Helix quiz. All you do is go to helixsleep.com/sleep. Take the quiz, and you'll get matched with a mattress that fits your sleep preferences, your sleep needs. What's going to help you get a good night's sleep? Because I can tell you from experience, I've spent all winter long snuggled in my Helix. I was so comfortable. I got to tell you, I love my Helix. And if you've been listening to this podcast on a regular basis, Helix is the sponsor we've had the longest relationship with, because everybody deserves a mattress that feels comfortable to them, that helps them sleep. And maybe that's you. I don't know. Does your mattress do that for you? Well, that's why we work with Helix, because the Helix quiz matches you with the perfect mattress based on your personal preferences and sleep needs. It makes buying a mattress easy. Helix is award-winning, the most awarded mattress brand, tested and reviewed by experts like Forbes and Wired. There's free shipping and seamless delivery. Helix delivers a mattress right to your door with free shipping in the U.S. And there's the Happy with Helix guarantee. Rest easy with seamless returns and exchanges. The Happy with Helix guarantee offers a risk-free, customer-first experience designed to ensure you're completely satisfied with your new mattress. So get over there. I don't know what you're waiting for, honestly. You deserve a new bed. And you deserve seeing what Helix has in store for you. So go to helixsleep.com/sleep to see the latest offers for Sleep With Me listeners. That's helixsleep.com/sleep. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots running through why people support the show. And maybe you're you're similar to this person, right? So put yourself in their shoes, because maybe you're the person I'm counting on tonight. The show's counting on. And you're saying, yeah, I think Scooter has been trying to get through to me. I've been putting off supporting the show for a few years, but maybe I am the one. Because I remember what my bedtime was like, what the deep, dark night was like before Sleep With Me. I'll never forget what my bedtime was like before this show. And I don't want to go back there. It's finally sunk in that this show needs people like me to support the show back to exist. If I don't support the show or someone else doesn't support it for me, the podcast will be gone. So I'm going to go right now to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus and sign up and support the show. So I don't have to worry about that. And as soon as they do, I'll set up the bonus content later, but I'll support the show right now in this moment. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. And then they feel this relief. Now I don't got to worry about it. Now I got access to all this great bonus content, ad-free episodes, story-only episodes. But my $60, my $120, my $7 a month has changed the entire future of the podcast for me and everybody else. Wow, that's relieving. So thank you to all the people that do that. And thank you for considering it tonight. Oh, Mystery Bard, a lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Posty poster son sounds like a near fall. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. If you some of these messages rang true for you, but you're not in a position to financially support the show, let people know about the podcast. Give them your honest experience with the show, how you discovered it, how you like to listen, and how it helps. Spread the word, and let me know about it so I can say thanks. Send me a message through our website or on social media. That's a huge, huge way to help the show. You could still be a part of this thing and helping us keep it going just by letting somebody else know about the podcast. Thanks, and what do you say we get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a nice sleepy place, a nice sleepy safe place where you could set aside whatever it is that's keeping you awake, whether that's thoughts on your mind, things you're thinking about the past, the present, the future, feelings, anything coming up for you emotionally related to sleep, physical sensations, changes in time, temperature, routine. If you're going through something, you're getting over something, you're in the middle of something, you're traveling, you have guests, maybe you work a different schedule, or you have something coming up. It could be physical sensations. I think I forgot that part. Feelings, thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, any of that other stuff. The only reason I bring that stuff up is so you know you're not alone. Or maybe you don't even need to know that. So you get the sense you're not alone. You get the sense that somebody's here to try to help out by taking your mind off of stuff and keeping you company, but also that somebody's here to help out who gets it, who's been there. And maybe you're hearing the laughter in my voice. I'm in the middle of a stretch of having something else happening that's out of my control, impacting my sleep, caring for something, being caregiver, I guess, and then when I'm not doing that, also then trying to wind down, I just haven't been able to, I'm in a pretty deep stretch here. And I'm doing all the other self-care stuff I can. But even then, when I say, hey, I run it by people, they say, huh. I don't feel like people that can sleep and are sleeping well, that they just don't get it. And actually, this isn't even that bad. Sometimes, because I guess because I know what's going on, versus a lot of times when I can't sleep, it's more baffling. Or I'm saying, I try to do everything right and I still can't sleep. So I guess the only reason I talk about this stuff and then I'm honest about it, one is because this part of the show is more meant for us to hang out and for you to wind down and put you to sleep. But so you get the sense that maybe you're understood here, where out in the world full of sleepers, you're not. But here's one better layer, one deeper layer around the show, and why I'm so comfortable being vulnerable and talking about right now, is that there's other people out there listening right now, who whatever it is that brought you to the show, whatever it is that's standing or land, whatever it is between you and getting the sleep you need, there's enough people listening right now that there are people listening at this moment who really get where you're at. They really do know exactly or very similar of how you're feeling. And not only that, there's regular listeners who are so glad you're here. They're wishing you well. They are wishing you a good night's sleep right now. People around the world. And that's the real magic of the show, is that it's full of people wishing each other well and of understanding those sub-feelings or whatever you want to call them. And the fact that it's just not easy. And the reason I make the show, that is the reason I make the show. I've experienced a lot of different sleeplessnesses in my life, and I also don't pronounce words perfectly. But I know this works for the people it works for. It doesn't work for everybody. And I'll talk about that coming up too. But I'm glad you're here. And other listeners are glad you're here. And then that's also circular in a good way. Those listeners are feeling good right now, wishing you well. And this, man, I hope this show not only helps you sleep, but you get to experience sending someone comfort across the deep, dark night who you really understand the struggle they're in. The other thing is you deserve a bedtime where you could get the rest you need so your life is more manageable, without rigmarole, or, where you could say, well, at least I can look forward to bedtime or feel neutral about it. I got that podcast guy. I got my bedtime routine. It's better than the Sleep With Me podcast. It's better than nothing. For some people, actually, only for some people, it's better than nothing. I would not put that on a pillow or one of those cross-stitch framed things. I would put it on, if I could afford to, I would put it on a billboard because that would be hilarious. Sleep with me. In certain cases, it's better. In very, very select cases, for very few people, it's better than nothing. And for some people, it's actually better than nothing. But you got to see how it goes. So that's a little bit too much. They say, well, you need about 12 billboards for that. It wouldn't work on a billboard, son. And that's the same person that tells me, why don't you just not think about it? Why don't you sleep in a different, all that stuff. So I really mean it when I say I'm glad you're here. And I really mean it when I say I hope I can help. But that I'm not alone in those messages. There's other listeners out there sending you well wishes too. Now, the way I do it is I send my voice across the deep, dark night. I use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents. So I go off topic, I get mixed up, I talk about stuff. Not always, a lot of times it's good, silly and lighthearted stuff. Like, for example, this is also the first time I'm recording. Like, I still haven't fully settled into a new recording space, but I have a window in front of me. And this is the first time I was able to say, okay, let's try opening the blinds. And there's no shutters, but there are, what are those things called? Curtains and blinds. And the interesting thing is, I don't know if the blinds have been there since I was a child, because this was multiple children's rooms over the history of this room. Many children in my family, and also this house has been rented out before, too, have slept in this room. So I don't know if you've ever had, at some point there was I think they call them blinds or mini blinds. And they were like one of the things. Like, first, these are certain eras of regular people home design. I don't know how else to describe it. Track lighting. I think that was in the late 80s, early 90s. And then mini blinds or blinds, which were supposed to solve all the problems with curtains. And I say, wait a second, was there any problem? Like, curtains, when done right, seem to do just fine on their own. I mean, no offense to mini blinds. I'm sure there are. I really like the full, like, I don't know, are those Venetian blinds, the really thick ones that are made from wood? I like those. But, like, well, in the hands of a child like me. So these blinds are, if you've ever, maybe I'll take a picture of them. They've been experimented on because they would be right next to somebody's bed most of the time. So they've been bent, they've been adjusted. And I'm like, did I do these adjustings, or did my siblings do them, or some other child who may have been in this house when it was a rental? I don't know. What's my point? Well, that was a pointless meander or a superfluous tangent, and from the beautiful view I have of just one tree right now, because there's also boxes of my stuff, but it's like got snow on it, and it's a bare winter branches. It may be that tree that has the fuzzy things, the fuzzy buds. You have fuzzy buds. That sounds like something. Man, maybe could somebody else remind me of that? Fuzzy buds. Anybody that could be asleep with me saying, yeah, we're fuzzy buds. I don't know what kind of tree this is. It's not a weeping willow. Oh, I almost had the name of it. I'm sure there's a lot of people that know the name of it right off the top of your head. It's in my database, my data bank somewhere. It's just not accessible. I almost had it there. Fuzzy willow? Maybe that's what it is. A fuzzy bud? Fuzzy willow. So I was trying to think of fuzzy willow-based comedy from the famous different willows of the world. But I said, well, save that. Okay. Yeah, what do you call when you're listening to Willow Smith and the broadcast isn't coming through on the radio? There's interference. What do you have a case of? A case of fuzzy willow. So I'll be here all evening. I send my voice across the deep dark night. I go off topic. And whatever brought you here, the most important thing for me to tell you is, like, this show's just not for everybody, and that's okay. But it does take a couple tries to get used to, so give it 2 or 3 tries. That's what I think over 1 million people have emailed me in the past 12, 13 years saying, hey, first try, I like stronger than loathed you in the show. But, I was desperate. Then the second try, I was like, wait a second. And then the third time I listened, I just woke up the next day because now I get it. The show is always going nowhere, always never getting started. You are a fuzzy bud, Willow. You're a fuzzy bud. You do fuzzy willow comedy, and you're a fuzzy bud. So don't Google that term, by the way, because I have no idea what will come up. But probably you don't. I mean, yeah, fuzzy willow, if that's a tree, even then I wouldn't Google either one of those terms. Just don't. And I'm not saying it to plan. I'm also telling myself, remember later, don't Google fuzzy bud, just in case. Okay. Now, so most people don't like me or the show, though, in the end. Like, give it a few tries, see if it goes. And if you discover you don't like the show, it doesn't work, doesn't comfort you, distract you, put you at ease, or you already know, like you're arborist and you're like, not only am I an arborist, but there's something about you, it's not a fit. Don't worry. We have a website set up because that's common. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. Has other sleepy stuff on there you could check out and help you out. And that's what I hope for you, that you find something to help you fall asleep. Even if you strongly dislike me, you still deserve a good night's sleep. So it has other sleep podcasts and sleepy stuff on there. Check it out. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. Okay, that's one thing. The other thing is that this is a podcast you don't really listen to. It's kind of like background noise that you barely pay attention to. It's like a fuzzy bud, or like if you were listening to Fuzzy Willow and it was the right kind of fuzzy, you say, okay, that's like a cool background noise. TV on in the other room, a show streaming under your pillow, out of focus picture, something you can pay attention to, but you don't need to. And particularly right now, my dog Koa really needs some comfort, and she's like, she's been listening to a lot and kind of watching a lot of Rick Steves, and then a couple other shows, and it really does. It's like she's not paying it. No offense to Rick Steve. I don't think Koa's planning any trips to Europe, or ever was. As a dog, she's like, you're up next to take me for a walk. Koa even does humor, but she does like the sound. And Rick Steves is a somewhat new thing in her life, and she's like, last night she was watching a situation comedy. But, yeah, so it's something you don't listen to. Also not meant to put you to sleep. This show, there is no pressure to fall asleep with this show. No expectation to fall asleep. I'm not here to put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off stuff. Yes, this is a sleep podcast. Yes, it's been around since 2012. And yeah, I kind of like was like, hey, how come there's no bedtime stories for grown-ups or podcasts to help grown-ups fall asleep like a goofy friend? Like any bedtime podcasts like that. It's still not here to put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company so you could fall asleep while you could fall asleep, or when you can't sleep at all. Because there's people listening who can't sleep at all, or who need a break during the day, or need a break during work, or they just need something in the background. Or like my dog Koa, she's had her fill of me throughout her lifetime, so the podcast doesn't help. Also, I'm there saying, it's okay, I'm here. So having another thing, and also like a podcast, so like I'm here so that the people in your life, they can help you out from time to time, but there aren't many friends you could put on call to put you to sleep whenever you want. So my job's to be here, whether you're awake or asleep, to be your boar friend, your boar bay, your boar sib, your boar bud, your neighbor, your boar bee, your boarman, your Boris Borloff, your chairman of the boards, your best boar friend forever, and just keep you company and hang out with you, just like a real friend would, if they were like yeah. I mean, can you imagine if like Koa? I think if Koa could speak, she'd say, man, I'd love to, but she gets that benefit anyway. I'd love to have Rick Steves talk to me about Europe. I'm not going to Europe, but I'd love to have Rick Steves just talk about, I love listening to Rick Steves talk about Europe and travel. And actually, I say, me too, Koa. I mean, that's maybe why I say me too. Now, that doesn't put me to sleep because I would like to go to Europe or whatever. I like, say, wait a second. Are you talking about Baroque again? Okay. So, anyway, what was my point? I'm not here to be listened to unless you need to, and I'm not here to put you to sleep, but I may put you to sleep or help you out in the deep, dark night. The only other thing I like to run through is the structure of the show. We have a very specific structure that's made to benefit the maximum amount of people we can. But there are adjustments you could make. So the show starts off with a greeting. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So everybody feels seen and welcomed. And you say, okay, I could check that show out. Then there's support for sponsors or requests for super listeners to support the show. So that paying for the show is optional. It really comes down to the people that benefit the most supporting the podcast, for them and for everybody else that listens, whether they support the sponsors or support the show directly. And that's pretty cool, right? And if you prefer something, if you're a super listener or you say, I prefer some of that without ads, you can get that on Sleep With Me Plus. But most people are happy to listen to this version. It just benefits a lot of people. Then after the sport, totally separate from the sport, is a show within a show, the intro, which I think we're around 15 to 20 minutes into. That's about how long they normally are. The intro is meant to introduce the podcast in a familiar way, but we do a new intro every single time so that there's familiarity and variety, because that's what I think is important about this show, is I'm here in a new way every time to help you out. And whatever it is that keeps you awake can be comforted by that fact. Oh, he's going to do the familiar structure, but I don't think I've ever talked about fuzzy buds or fuzzy willows before. And I tell you what, it's pretty comforting, me imagining petting a fuzzy willow, even if that's not what it is. If you know it, you say, okay, don't Google that either. But it's like this fuzzy bud on a tree. It's a pretty nice thing. It's, it may be beyond archetype for me of something comforting and nice, and say, wow, nature is absolutely mind-blowingly beautiful, awe-inspiring, and amazing. Even if I don't know the vocabulary, I would like to be a fuzzy bud with nature for sure. So what's my point in there? The intro goes on and on and on. Oh, in a different way every time. So it feels new versus something repetitive my brain gets used to. And then it's like, nope, that's not going to work anymore. So that's why every intro is different. It's also long, like 15 to 20 minutes versus 2 or 3 minutes to ease you into bedtime. The intro, well, it puts a tiny percentage of people to sleep. And really, if you're in that percentage, please consider supporting the show if you fall asleep fast. But most people, the intro is meant to ease you into bedtime, to be listened to as you're getting ready for bed, as you're winding down, getting comfortable, chilling out. The intro is meant to just be some time to hang out and do a wind down activity or get comfortable, prep for bed, chill out, and ease into bedtime. That's what works for me most of the time. And what studies show works is having a nice routine. And this podcast could just be one part of it. So that's the intro. Then after the intro, will be like either supporting a sponsor or asking the super listeners to support the show. And then it'll be a bedtime story. So it'll be our look back at the making of Get Besos, Big Farm in the Sky PI. And that's it. I'll be here over an hour. I'll be here. There's plenty of episodes to choose from or play around with or make your own playlists with, because I really want to help you out. I'm really glad you came by. And again, if you're new, you can't afford to support the show, you only listen occasionally, don't worry. We got you. But if you are a regular listener and this podcast has changed your relationship with sleep or made your life better, please consider supporting one of these sponsors or supporting the show. Thanks. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, ZocDoc. Finding a doctor that you really like is kind of like finding a diamond in the rough. Searching, because you got to find somebody that's in your network, They're nearby. They take new patients. They have open time slots. But that's just the beginning, because then you want somebody that's going to listen to you, explain things to you in very clear language, follow up, and make you feel safe and cared for, right? So we all have our perfect doctor checklist because we deserve it. And that's why you got to check out ZocDoc. ZocDoc makes the whole thing easy. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love. And we're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states. Whether you're looking for dermatology, dentistry, primary care, eye care, or any one of the other 200-plus specialties offered on ZocDoc, you can easily search by specialty or symptom to build the care team that's right for you. You want to see your doctor in person? Great. And if you prefer a video visit, you could do that too. And then there's those thousands of verified patient reviews that give you a real sense of who your doctor is. Whatever it is, you can feel confident that you can book with a doctor you know you'll love. And as I've said, since I've made my move, I've been checking ZocDoc, and I'm still using it as part of my search for my care providers. So you got to check it out too. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/sleep to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/sleep. ZocDoc.com/sleep. Thank you, ZocDoc, for sponsoring this message. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots here, and this is our look back and maybe a look forward, but more than likely a look forward at the rest, the next series we're going to do, the next episodically modular series we'll do. Maybe even the next two, and what kind of this is where we kind of check in of what worked, what didn't work, what were some of the inspirations, things like that. I assess the creative part of a little behind the scenes, I guess, of the making of Get Besos. But I think this one we may venture into like the podcast itself, and maybe when you're hearing this, it'll be after this recording. If you support the show, kind of doing some check-ins and laying out of stuff. Yeah, let's get into it. So this is it's not an actual episode of Get Besos, Big Farm in the Sky PI, but it is episode 20. Or you could say there was 18 episodes of Get Besos, Big Farm in the Sky, and a recap episode, and then this kind of look back episode. The recap episode, is always fun because it normally happens organically. This time it kind of almost, I guess I kind of planned it. But in the past, it was a question of at some point, my recap of the series will reach into, I don't know what was the first time we did it. I think it was with Get Besos. I don't even know what episode that was. 15, 16, 17. So it wasn't even the middle. So this was our first series that I'm aware of that was a mashup of two series or alternating, or two sets of series of characters existing in the same or kind of trying to accomplish the same thing. And if I mention this somewhere else, please let me know. But I don't have right now access to an exact time when it came up to me of Big Farm in the Sky PI could help out with Get Besos. I'm assuming it happened on a dog walk, because that's where a lot of the ideas, which is when in the California era of the podcast, and going for long walk era, where ideas came from, and we'll see in this New York state of mind. Going for much shorter walks, a period of the podcast where ideas will come from. But yeah, the idea came up of, at I don't know which came first, actually, but my desire to return to Get Besos, I think, I'm not even sure about this, but I'm pretty sure, or yeah, I'm getting more and more positive that what happened was I've had this idea for a long time, a desire to tell a story of rescuing people like Inspector Javert from non-positive post-earthly existences. And every once in a while, like some people might be saying, do you ever get tired of writing post-earthly fiction? And I say, I mean, no, not yet. Not yet. I mean, it's kind of like an endless unknown. And you know, there's recently, I don't think I read the article about it, but because I was afraid it would make me overthink things. But there was a recent article about post-earthly realms that I didn't read. I read the headline, so better not read that. Yeah, so I had this, I was like, man, I really am interested in the idea, kind of like a movie where, like in a specific genre of movie, which I guess could be termed the great escape genre, where you say, hey, it'd be great to escape this post-earthly realm, this non-positive post-earthly realm. But that usually it involves a team of people either within that are say, that's a great idea, let's do it together. Or, hey, let's go in there and kind of similar to what happened. Like even if it didn't take place in the world of Get Besos, it'd be like Inspector Javert. I don't think everybody would agree on it. But it's like, hey, that kind of non-positive post-earthly realm that Inspector Javert may or may not be in. But you can kind of see if you're like where the layers of Sleep With Me and Get Besos start to intersect with this one. Well, you're right. We do a lot of post-earthly fiction. Do we really need to invent a whole nother set of post-earthly characters? Is that even a good idea? 2, this does sound a bit like RW, particularly with someone like Inspector Javert. Who would be desirous of saying this is so unfair? And then they kind of like humorous parts or curious parts of like, wait a second, which Inspector Javert? Wait a second, you mean Inspector Javert from the book, from the musical, from the musical movie? Which musical? Do you know that's a fictional character that will not be in post? If there's post-earthly, so then it gets interesting, right? Where it's like, So you're telling me if there's post-earthly realms, there's no fictional, sentient fictional beings in post-earthly realms? That's interesting to me. That's a rule I would like. That's a rule I'd like to explore and look into. So at some point it came like the layers started to to back up, like a lot of the ideas on Sleep With Me, however they appear, whether they appear in one-off episodes or episodically modular series or even on location episodes or personal essays, they're not fully formed ideas. They're ideas that keep bubbling up from the story swamp. This one in particular, well, what I would go to the movies to see that. Not with Inspector Javert, but I would actually watch that as a show because it is episodic or episodic. You're telling me they're going to have to go in there like one of those 80s TV shows as a team and do this. That's interesting to me. And then there's another layer of Sleep With Me specific thing, which is starting to say, okay, so let's also pull some inspiration from myth or story, right? And what can we pull and how will that impact how it unfolds or the details or the worlds? And I guess in a sense, looking back on it, I said, well, it could have been advantageous to not have to be serialized only and not episodic. which is kind of the Big Farm in the Sky piece anyway, because like what I like about Big Farm in the Sky PI normally is he's a lot of times there's, I guess in season 2 there was some sort of overarching, there usually has to be something through. But anyway, so these ideas that they just, okay, well now we could learn about other post-earthly realms. That's something that interests me. And then it starts to add, like, it just becomes a creative constraint in like a addition of randomness. And I think the beginning of the series, I mean, I guess because it was a lot of the seeds are in that idea. It was like, okay, well, where would Inspector Javert be? And what happened, right? So then you learn more about the character and, okay, what do we know about Inspector Javert's background? What do we know about his personality? Then it was kind of like thinking about, I don't know exactly how we got there, but what post-earthly realm would most appear to Javert is just really interesting to me, to me, not to everybody. And like if he had a choice, how did he make it? And then that becomes the mystery. Okay, so, how did he make the choice? Where did he get the information? What does he really want? All that kind of stuff. I don't know. I guess that's where the idea came from, was just, I mean, I do really like, even though on the previous series, I was like, can we put out another series with Richard Warren in it, RW? Because he's become such a, I don't know, the character, I didn't realize at the time how archetypal the character was. I mean, or how it fits a certain archetype, but now I kind of love it, and it just makes it just like I love spending time with Richie and James, and it is more of Richard Warren's series. I mean, because he's the one that really wants to get kisses or whatever, but and James is kind of his hapless best friend, along for the ride. But it's always interesting for me to say, okay, like, not only does he want to get Besos, but it's always like for the strangest reasons. Or in this case, it was that he had already come up with this, ridiculous idea. And then it's, again, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it, over-explain everything. So, let's do, like, what worked. And what is in the middle, and hey, what are we learning and moving forward with? So what worked? I mean, I kind of laid out kind of what worked. It's like what works with most things with Sleep With Me is getting an idea, letting it percolate, then playing with the idea, and then trying to find, I don't know if it's a fulcrum point, but it's something outside of my imagination to kind of counteract or to give me ability to focus, I guess, and offer a creative constraint that's outside of the story or my imagination. So this one, it was like characters and myths, and sometimes it would just grow out of other things, like we'd research something, and then it would reveal something else, or it would. I think it was like Jay Bruce. I think was that who was. I think that I'm trying to think of the episode that took place on the ship with Larry Vaughn. I mean, I thought it'd be funny to have Larry Vaughn because he's also like a Richard Warren type character. He was a mayor of a fictional version of Martha's Vineyard in Nantucket when there was an issue with a kissing beluga. You know, that famous film, The Kissing Beluga. And Larry Vaughn was the mayor of that. And Jay Bruce, I believe, was that, he was in the movie, right? Was that Billy Zane's character? Maybe not. Maybe I'm imagining things. But that one was kind of gimmicky because I just like the idea of rearranging deck chairs. Because that seems like a pretty clear punishment that those two, well, that would be like where... Now that one, I don't think Richard Warren, were they on his list? Because they're too similar to him. and he needed something from Jay Bruce or whoever it was. So, like, I don't know. But, okay, so what was I trying to talk about? Oh, what worked? Like, you kind of see how I got confused and went on a meander there. So those things, like the mixing of outside and inside stuff, and then it recycling it adds ability to make meanders. Because the creativity is not magic, right? It is a bit, and this kind of goes into what do we need to change moving forward. It is like a bit of focusing, writing, and then reading or researching. So ideally, there's like too much stuff, and then I'm trying to refocus it, and then I'm trying to write it enough so I can record it. And then there's like an ideal situation where we have like a plot or outline, we have dialogue, and we have more ideas of where things could go, and then it becomes time to record. Now, did the here's a question: is like, did the mashing up of series work or not? And I'd say, like, I don't know if that's the right question to ask, even though I'm asking. I would say, like, well, considering the creative constraints, and that both these series take place in the same general universe, I guess it was inevitable that these characters, well, maybe not, because it seems like it's a pretty near limitless space. But it would seem like they would cross paths at some point, right? Or that's possible. And if you were going to hire someone, like from Richard Warren's point, it's like, hey, this person, Simon, he's the big firm in the sky PI. So if you need help finding people for whatever reason, he would be a good person to help you find people. So it makes sense. The only thing, the only thing that gives me pause is that it ended up being a really lot of episodes extended over a period of time, which we'll kind of talk about in a second. And I don't know if that worked, but it's not for the reason you may be thinking. It is for a couple behind the scenes reasons, which is interesting. Because we have done series that have hit like 18 episodes, and then you think about it, it's like, oh, okay, so it was like 9 and 9. I think I already talked about this in another episode, or whatever, 10 and 8, or something around there, you know, of the whether it's Big Farm in the Sky or Richard and James episode. And you say, okay, 9 and 9 is not too bad. And that's actually what we usually shoot for, is like somewhere between 8 and 12 episodes for a written series. And so I guess, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe I'm too close to it now, because I'm usually wrong. It's like, I still feel like, I guess what I'm saying is I still feel like it was a separate series. So not so much of a mashup as parallel play. Even though they were, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was more like parallel play than them, even though Simon was working towards the same goal and sometimes helping them. And in the end, to reach a resolution, they need a lot of help, particularly from G and DK, obviously, because they're the real heroines of the whole, of the whole thing. I guess I don't know. Yeah, because I mean, I guess I was writing each episode as either or and trying to keep it separate. So it wasn't, I mean, I just don't think, I mean, to be honest, like, I don't know if anybody other than James could work directly with Richard Warren, RW, for longer than a half an episode, because he's just too dominant. And even people that are very gracious, like GDK and Simon, at some point you're just going to choose to not deal with somebody like that and say, hey, I prefer anything but this. Now, of course, part of the writing and the performing part of the podcast is making Richard Warren as delightful as possible. Because, I mean, well, that's, I guess, is that irony? Like, is that, like, he's almost the center of joy, like him being steadfast in his need to be who he is what puts delight and joy in there. and the mysteriousness, like something beyond my understanding, that he still has a best friend, and someone that has, like, loves him. And I think that was a big part of this. Maybe it's part of every series with them, is like, reiterating that James does love Richard Warren Sears, and that Richard Warren Sears loves James, or on the majority of his consciousness, loves the fact that James loves him as a best friend. He definitely loves that, but even beyond the ego, he cares. Well, maybe he doesn't care about James. He does care about him on some level, because he knows that James finds positive qualities in him. So, but it's delightful trying to make a character like that. I don't know. I mean, you probably hear it in the series or my voice now. It's like, instead of being, like he's essentially the main character of the story, or the wheel. I mean, the wheel. Like, he's the one that makes everything happen, and moves everything forward. His choices and his desire, and his needs, which are based on him being who he is, and what he wants. He never gets necessarily what he needs from the universe, but maybe he does. Like, for him to become like a self-actualized may take like 800 episodes. And you never know, because we did set up another series, but again, based on, like, that wasn't planned as the ending. It just became the obvious ending. The more and more kind of plotting out as we did, it was like, okay, everything kept circling back to Moriarty, right? And that Moriarty, too, is someone that Richard Warren would become focused on and dismissive of, because Moriarty's known for being generally a genius, or extremely capable and successful at what Moriarty wants to do. And the fact that there's this drive, and then there could be some ineptitude, and that there was a convenient point with the drive in the red elasticine and spandex person. What are we going to do with this person? Because even though this is the one time in fictional history of the existence that their presence was actually needed, they're still, Richard Warren's not going to let them lead. It's his story. Who cares what's best for existence from Richard Warren's standpoint? But it was also like, what do we do with Jiff? And then it was like, okay, Jiff's not going to stop either. Like, Jiff is similar to these characters, a little bit different, because at least the fictional Jiff is driven by this more calculating, I don't want to say intellectually curious, but logistically curious mind, which you could say is, not based on a morality spectrum. Like, he's maybe not actualized in that way. Like, well, I'm unaware of what's moral or whatever. I'm just curious to see if I can make these logistics work. Again, this is just the fictional character, right? And it's like, okay, so where, like, that was kind of what was driving his actions behind the scenes in this series, is like, I have access to all these post-earthly realms. Wait a second, I could leverage these. Just a few changes, and I could use this, logistically, and actually, not everybody's doing stuff. And why would you have someone rolling a rock up a hill when you could have them packing bins or whatever? So it's just seeing things through his eyes, where I guess maybe that's just a spin back to the delight of RW, is seeing things through his eyes, but with the detachment is delightful, because his actions are so relevant, but his actions are so, I don't know, it's just delightful to be like, you'd really do that. You'd really risk all of existence based on this thing you think, oh yeah, first, what do you mean? You don't even know what you're talking about. Or like his best friend in his blanket, right, is a little bit different because you say, man, that's too bad that you choose, you have a best friend here that really cares about you. Okay, so yeah, I guess, was it a mashup? Kind of. Was it a mashup that worked? I say, well, maybe not. So one takeaway, one change that needs to be made moving forward, right, is going back to the old writing schedule. So I don't know when this started, right, but over the past couple of years, there's been a lot of challenges within the podcast, like a sustainability part and my personal life. And at some point, it was like, okay, maybe I'll just put out one episodically modular episode a month. And then I only have to write one a month. And that seems more doable the way my life has looked over the past couple of years. And say, okay, I could still do that. But the deadline, which may not seem like if you don't, you're just going to have to trust me, at least over the past couple of years, like recording 2 of those episodes a month or every other week, it just felt like there wasn't enough time in the day to accomplish that, and something needed to change. But now, looking back on it, I wouldn't say it was the wrong decision, because it was like a decision of like, hey, I got to keep this podcast going the best I possibly can. My job is to make the podcast that puts you to sleep. My job's to make sleep with me, right? So that's like the main lens I have to run a lot of decisions through when I'm calm. Okay, is this a choice going to help me keep making the podcast that puts people to sleep or not? And I guess at the time I said, yeah, this will, because I don't know, it's still, when I'm recording this, it's like at the end of 2025, between Christmas and New Year's. And it's been a challenging year, and with the sustainability of the show. And it's something that's actually, so to go back to now looking forward at our next series we're going to do, and the scheduling and stuff like that. So I think this will carry us through till like March or April, this episode I'm recording now. Will this help me keep making the podcast that puts me to sleep? Writing an episode every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks or whatever, every 4 weeks. Which of those will help me, at least in my thinking, will help me make the best podcast that puts you to sleep, the best version of Sleep With Me. And I do think it's returning to the 2-week recording schedule for the episodically modular series episodes. And I think it is because of the challenge of that. And now, and by the time recording, I guess 2 weeks from now, or so mid-January, we'll say, my life is becoming more and more settled and routine within my new routine, which is still some challenges or whatever. And I think having a goal that's not overly ambitious, but is a challenge, it means like you have to write every single day, maybe even Saturday and Sunday. Not even maybe, definitely should be writing one writing session 5 days a week, and then maybe a split shorter writing session 2 days a week in order to put out to write an episode. It takes 2 weeks of that writing. So whatever, 10 plus 12 days of writing, not 8 hours of writing, obviously, because there's a lot of other stuff that's got to get done. So looking forward, I do have the next series. I have been working on it. So the kind of trying to figure out the narration tone. It's going to be a new series, again, a series I've been thinking about for a long time. And so we're just in the, getting ready to start writing the first episode. I mean, I think I picked it yesterday. Was that yesterday? Yeah. The narration, the type of narration it's going to be, but then you got to see how that plays out in recording it and stuff. But the goal would be to put that out, I guess, twice a month, or probably twice a month, but to produce 2 episodes a month. I don't know. I think they would come out twice a month, or at least on Sleep With Me Plus, it would come out twice a month. It's another thing of trying to figure out the sustainability of the show long term. But, and yeah, recording an episode every other week, except, when I need to take time off for something comes up or something, or we miss, we miss our deadline and we put it out a few days later. But I think creatively that challenge offers the most very little downside, other than having to stay a little bit disciplined and focused. It offers the most upside for Sleep With Me as a whole, because the writing always impacts every other kind of episode we do in a positive way. It's never, ever impacted anything in a negative way with the show, unless it's like, well, if I got to make more minisodes to convince people to support the show, or more videos or stuff like that, or record more in-house ads or whatever. Those are the trade-offs to say, okay, well, I needed to get that. I don't have unlimited time. It's like the trade-offs I've been having to make over the past couple of years. But it's like, okay, well, I have to find some other trade-off or something, because it affects the TV episodes in a positive way. It affects the personal essay episodes in a positive way. It gives me more ideas for stuff that'll come up in the one-off episodes. And it's just... it just keeps me, I don't know, it creates more and more creative, it just keeps the tools always those particular creative tools, like noodling out ideas, playing with creative constraints, doing research, practicing dialogue between characters, and rewriting impacts everything that we make, without a doubt, in a positive way. Probably one of the biggest things, or if not the biggest thing. I mean, the second one would be a TV recap, but doing that in a disciplined way, which we've been doing. So that, I think, is one change that we need to make. And the next one is kind of similar. It doesn't have to do with the episodically modular series, but it has to do with this question, which goes back to, that's the question that is every major turning point in the podcast. And it's been a while since we've had any major turning points. Like the major turning points in the podcast were, let's see, going from 3 episodes to 2 episodes a week, that was a pretty big, me trying to do the podcast full time, that was a pretty big turning point. Starting the Patreon and me being afraid and changing up our whole plan, and then moving to Sleep With Me Plus, that was more of a behind the scenes thing. But all of those are based on, is this when the decisions are clear, it's like, how's this going to help me keep making the podcast that puts you to sleep? And going from 2 episodes to 3 episodes, it's like, okay, now we have a general idea how many hours of human labor it takes to make an episode of Sleep With Me. The show will never bring enough money to make 3 new episodes a week. So we'll just go to 2 episodes a week. And that was that choice. Even paying someone almost nothing, it just doesn't make sense to make 3 episodes a week. And you make 2 episodes a week, you make 2 really good episodes a week versus making 3 episodes a week. And then 2024 or 2025, I guess it was 20, okay, there's a lot going on in the world now. Now we have this huge archive. Let's put a 3rd episode out a week to give everybody more to listen to and to take their mind off stuff. So I guess it's ironic that now we put out 3 episodes a week, but that's based on listener need, and it's a lot easier to do. Still does take a bit of work. Like Rusty Biscuit listens to all those episodes, takes notes, we re-edit those episodes, sometimes we remix them. So it's not a matter of just pressing a button or anything, but it's worth it, right? So we're at a kind of point like where it's like that question isn't always, there's going to be a new question. So it's always like, how does this help me keep making the podcast that puts it to sleep when I'm faced with a choice, right? But what we're up against was a twofold issue. Is the super listener question, right? We now know how many people listen. Most people don't listen like a super listener. So if you're a super listener, you consume much, much more of the podcast resources than a regular listener, a new listener. And to at least 10 times as much, but probably a lot more than 10 times because that's only the average, right? And that means you listen to multiple episodes. You know, we talked about this in trying to get more super listeners to support the show. Like I thought that would be a easy thing, right? Particularly when I was like, hey, I don't know if this podcast, how sustainable this show is anymore. Where it's been over the past couple of years, where it's just been on the border of like, this is not going to be sustainable for very much longer. But that created this twofold problem, right? It's like getting more super listeners to support the show is the answer to the sustainability of the podcast, but that's also fully out of my control other than asking. And it's just become a area that's become very soft on the inside around, right? Because I said, why do I not have? I guess because it's like one, I have FEAR that I won't be able to keep making this show that puts people to sleep, right? That I like making that. Not only do people benefit, but probably we thought it was 20. It's probably like 30,000 people in the free ad-supported podcast listen to hundreds of hours a year. I mean, more than hundreds of hours a year. So, okay, but that is not under my control, but I want it to be, right? And then I also fall into this idea of if I can find a way to put it under my control, then I'll feel safe and self-assured and all that. And so the past 2 years have been bouncing between those things and obviously other things going on and stuff like that. And that's no longer working. Or asking the question, how does this help me make the podcast that puts you to sleep, does not relieve the tension in that. I guess is more the answer, right? Because it's obviously getting more people that benefit the most from the show to support it helps me keep making the podcast that puts people to sleep. But stressing about it does not. Or me getting into binary or all or nothing feelings or solutions about it, or just even if it's only internally does not solve it. So the new question, which is a secondary question, and it's an imaginary question in a sense. So I want to lay that out there. And you could use this, or I personally don't just use, this is a new tool I have in my toolbox, I guess I'll say. And it's not just in the Sleep With Me toolbox, but it applies is who is leading right now? Who's guiding this right now? or you could, parse it out however you wish. That's just how I parse it. It works best for me. I mean, you could say what principle or what feelings or what thoughts or whatever is leading the direction or however. But for me, it's like, who's leading right now? Because I am one of those people that does have brain bots, and a lot of facets of my personality, especially my internal life personality, are very distinct. So it's a little bit easier for me to, if I pause and ask that question, to say, who is leading right now? So when the question of how are we going to keep the show going, is this best or whatever, how are we going to keep Sleep With Me sustainable? If I start to jump into an area, or even if it's been a week or a month and I've been working on something, to pause and say, who's leading right now? Is it, because it doesn't sound like it's super chill Scoots or Drew, or like, is it someone that's is it a brain bot? Or I mean, I don't use brain bots as my own personal, my own interior life. Those aren't brain bots are just sleep related for me. But we could imagine that. You see, is it a brain bot scooting around in there, like running, like zooming back and forth? And see, is that person qualified to be leading this right now? And it's okay to be wrong. I mean, I guess you're going to make mistakes. And I mean, I guess I'm saying that to myself, but I'm saying it to you as a listener, or letting you know that I know that, right? Or for some people, breaking the illusion that, this is like an imperfect show made by an imperfect person. And sometimes I'm like living in reality, and sometimes I'm living in a world of my own creation. And sometimes it's a bit of both, right? But when I ask that kind of question and get outside myself, it's like, okay, then I can even be a little bit more generous and empathetic and compassionate with myself and say, okay, no, it feels like this. You're going to have to stop the podcast in 2 or 3 months. Do you really think that's the case, or is there any other? Who's leading that decision right now? Oh, okay, yeah, more of part of you that's WORINGing, right? Okay, because you're not positive. You feel that way, and you don't want that to be the case. Okay. Well, do we have anybody else that could lead this? If someone else, you can even ask, well, what if somebody else was leading this? Where would they take things? Sometimes that's just enough to interrupt all these thoughts and start guiding them to a new place. And because they do feel like, so the show, we've put out more episodes in the past 2 years than we have in a long time. We put out more variety of episodes than we have in a long time. We've brought back things that I didn't think we could ever have in the public feed, like the all-intro episodes and then new styles of all-intro episodes. I thought we would never release those. They'd only be bonus episodes for paid subscribers. But over the past 2 years, it's like now we have a steady flow, probably at least twice a month, or we'll have different styles on location episodes. And again, those are some people's favorite episodes, and those are some people's least favorites. And that's why we work so hard of having a variety of stuff all the time. And that goes back to this question of writing these, focusing more on the schedule of the episodic and modular series, and then saying, okay, let's try to keep it to 8 to 12 episodes and keep it over, only within 4 to 8 months, because they're 4 to 6 months. And then, maybe then we'll have space. Well, we have a holiday series we've been working on. Sleep With Me Plus subscribers got a tease of it. We already have episodes for that done. So it's like, we are like next fictional holiday series we were working on. But yeah, like that, I don't know, add some looseness. And then also, I mean, the other thing that I realize is that, engage, like I definitely over the past 2 years, part of it was everything I was going through personally. Part of it was just that, it feels like the support with the show is stuck. And part of it was just that there's a lot of people going through a tough time, and they choose Scoots to kind of let out, to vent however they're feeling about the world, that I've taken a step back from kind of being more of the face of Sleep With Me and whatever, interacting. I mean, I do on Sleep With Me Plus, but as a regular joyful thing. And so that's one thing I want to change in 2026, is to be a more joyful part of Sleep With Me. Or those are the things I want to make time for, right? Is more regular, everyday writing the episodes. Because again, when it's a month, what happens is I say, well, if I don't have time, if I got to do all this fundraising stuff for the podcast, I just can't write today. I'll write tomorrow. And that's it worked, but it doesn't work when you're answering that question. Does it help me make the best possible Sleep With Me I can? No. Doesn't work when you ask that question. Who's leading when you don't write every day? Someone that believes that in non-abundance around the future of the podcast. Okay, maybe somebody else should lead when we're deciding on the writing schedule. And the same for the joyful interactions, or I don't know how to describe it, of okay, who's making the interaction schedule or planning out how we're going to interact with supporters and listeners? Or are we ever going to do that live again? I don't know, because some people, they just can't handle that or be well behaved enough. But are we going to try to do more in that realm? Probably, because that's joyful. Oh, if we lead with joy and fun, then yeah, I think that we could okay, so who's leading there, right? How does that help? Well, the more full of joy the show is, the better it is to putting people to sleep. Even if it's a low-key joy, which is my particular style of joy anyway. In low-key, the goal, what works about Sleep With Me, other than putting people to sleep, is that it should be delightful on some level, or strive to being delightful. And even if it's undetectable delight, it's so low-key, it's not detected. That's one of the most important things. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's all. I guess I don't have anything more to say about that part of it is, yeah. So, I think that's it. I mean, so I'm really excited about our new series. It really has a lot of fun and sleepy things, and it's been something, again, that's kind of come up in different ways over years and been like, how would we do that? When's going to be the right time to do that? And then as I said yes, I said, oh, wait a second, I like that idea now, that it's, once it becomes concrete, then it suddenly turns back to clay or Play-Doh or like a goop, or say, oh no, okay, let's move that now. So I'm excited about it, and I think this one is particularly, will be particularly good at being episodic. Like each episode should be self-contained mostly, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I really love making the show, putting you to sleep. I know not everybody pays attention to these episodes or is awake for them, but I'm really excited for what 2026 is going to bring the show, and I'll be here doing my best to bring some delight to bedtime, to make the best podcast I can within my control to put you to sleep, and to have someone making the day-to-day decisions that pauses and says, is this, what part of me is making this decision of how to spend time around the show? And I guess also some part of me, I'm going to be honest, is accept the stakes of the show. Like, if there's just not enough super listeners for the show to be sustainable, that's not under my control, right? And then it's like, okay, so maybe we do need to reimagine the show. But I also just don't believe that's the case. So it's like, I guess already then we're getting back and say, okay, well, we just don't know. So that could be the person that leads. Well, we just don't know. Right now, we don't know. So let's get back to putting people to sleep. Thanks so much for listening. Couldn't do it without all you. It really is my pleasure, and talk to you soon. Good night. All right, buddy, this is Scoots with a tuck you in message about, I've been asking people when they sign up to support the show, why. Like, what is the biggest reason someone supports the show? So I don't know if you want to do this. You could put yourself in their shoes. I'm going to walk you through what some people have said, the kind of recurring themes. And maybe if you put yourself in their shoes, maybe you're the one tonight that'll support the show. So here's how it goes normally. This is the most popular kind of response. First they say, yeah, no, Scooter was talking to me. I am the one who can support the show and who wants to. I've just been putting it off or thinking someone else is going to do it or tuning it out. But yeah, I'm the one. And I remember what my life was like, what my bedtime was like before I found Sleep With Me. I remember that, and I didn't like it. And I don't want to go back to that. And I know, just like Scooter says, the show can't exist unless people like me support it. If I don't support it, or someone doesn't support it for me, the show won't be here. And I don't want that either. And then what they always do, and they tell me about this, the people that actually have been signed up lately, they go right now. So if this is you, go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus right now. And sign up, and then worry about the bonus content tomorrow. Because if you put it off, you will put it off for years. But as soon as you sign up, you could have that relief. You see, I'm a part of this now. I'm a part of what's keeping this show going. I'm a part of this bedtime relief for me. Now I don't got to worry about whether the show's going to be around or not, and for other people too. And that feels pretty nice. A lot better than what it used to be like. So thanks for supporting the show. And when you sign up, you get a video from me saying just that. The second one kind of goes very similarly. And it does take hearing me ask 30, 40, 50 times that suddenly something clicks and it's like, man, this show, Scooters really needs some support here. It didn't realize it just clicks at some point. This podcast needs people to support it to exist. And I am so happy this is in the world. It changed my relationship with sleep like nothing else had. There's not something that could replace this. And if Scooter stopped narrating the show or making the show, I would really miss him. Even if it was somebody else or a different company making the podcast, I would miss this version of Sleep With Me if it was gone a lot. Because I like it. I love it. And it makes my life better. I really enjoy it. And I don't want to go without it. And I do know now it needs my support right now. And then right now, maybe you're the one. They go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. They sign up. They set up the bonus content a day or two from now when I send out the follow-up welcome video and stuff like that. But then they're like, wow, I get a video from Scoots when I sign up. Man, maybe now I feel closer to this show. I feel really good because I've done my part. I don't got to worry about it anymore. I was putting it off. I put it off for 3-4 years. That's a common refrain lately. And I'm glad it clicked, and I'm glad to be a part of this thing. So if that's you, I hope it is. You can support the show. You're in a position to, and you will right now because you'll miss it if it's gone. Don't wait. sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. And the next one kind of looks something like, okay, put yourself in this person's shoes. Maybe this is you. Maybe you only use the show when you need it, or maybe you use the show pretty often, but you're like, finally, I found something that makes my relationship with bedtime better. I tried all this other stuff. I paid for a lot of stuff, but Sleep With Me has made my nights better, and therefore my days are better. And I don't want to go back to what it was like before the show was a part of my life. So me paying $120, $240, $60 a year, like Scoots is serious. That's another thing they realize. My $60 a year will change the future of the podcast. my $60 a year is a really big deal to the show and to Scooter and to keeping it going. So I'm going to go right now and support the show at sleepingmatepodcast.com/plus. And they do that right now when it clicks. And then suddenly after they do it, they feel good. And then they feel even better when I send them a thank you video. Because then I say, hey, what made you sign up to support the show? Because it changed my life. Because it did this for me. It helped me in this way. Because I don't want to think about not having the podcast in my life. Or the podcast has helped me through these major things in my life. And I want it to be around the next time something else comes up. If that's you, you can sign up at sleepingmatepodcast.com/plus. But don't put it off, because if you're like most people, you'll put it off for 2 or 3 years. And we could really use your support tonight. So think about it. Thanks.